In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at all the sets released this year, which is now exactly 10 years ago, which makes me feel so old. But anyway, let's kick things off with the first ever set of Microfighters that we got. I'll quickly skim over these since they're obviously not super interesting. We do have the Clone Turbo Tank, AAT, Millennium Falcon, TIE Interceptor, and an X-Wing, and then a Star Destroyer. Most notably out of these, I think is definitely the Turbo Tank, since at the time it was released, aside from the advent calendar for this year, this was the only way to get a regular Phase 2 Clone Trooper until 2024. So we had 10 years where we didn't get regular Phase 2 clones. And for those who care, this one doesn't have any helmet holes. Otherwise, all of these sets are nothing to write home about. They're all just pretty standard Microfighters, but definitely they're a fun, cheap way to get some cool characters like a Han Solo, you know, for just a $10 set is always nice. Now we can get into the real sets for the year and begin with the battle packs. But just quickly, if you do go on to enjoy this video, please leave a like and subscribe. We're still a pretty new and growing channel, so every little bit of support really helps. Anyway, kicking things off, we have the Death Star Troopers battle pack, which came with 2 Royal Guards and 2 Death Star Gunners. What I love is that this is by far the cheapest way to ever get a Royal Guard figure, who I always wanted as a kid, but they always came in these really expensive either Death Star sets or Throne Room play sets. And then also the 2 Gunners were new figures at the time and were pretty interesting as well. The build is honestly pretty nice. You get a kind of cool little cannon. I think it's definitely the worst of the 3 battle packs, as I don't see a lot of army building potential here. Maybe you get 2 of these, have a sort of full fleet of Royal Guards, but other than that, you can't really go much further. Next up, we have the Kashyyyk Troopers battle pack, and this set is like honestly a perfect set. 2 Scout clones and 2 regular Kashyyyk clones are great for army building, and these figures have such great detail. Obviously, the stud shooters in these sets are a massive downside, and I'm glad that we're seemingly done with them in battle packs and other sets now, but even the build in this set is just really good, really massable. I think you can have a bunch of sort of mini swamp speeders. And also now this set is worth literally 10 times its original value of $13, which just shows you that it's a really good set. And I hope we get a remake of this for the 25th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith. While this battle pack is amazing, I think it's actually debatable whether it's even the best of the year, since the other battle pack released this year is known as the Utapau Troopers set. This set comes with 2 212th Legion clones, as well as 2 Airborne Troopers. Both of these figures are new and remained exclusive to this set, have since been updated in other sets, but I think these ones still hold up really nicely. You get a small build for a Tri-Droid, which is great, another really awesome massable army builder, and this is something, again, this battle pack does right, it gives you something to fight against. I was also contemplating whether this set would have been better with maybe just 1 Airborne clone and then like 3 regular P2s, but having watched Revenge of the Sith recently, I did notice that there are quite a few Airborne Troopers in the background of some shots, even on Coruscant before he takes off to Utapau, so I think that's actually fine. Next up, we have the Battle of Saleucami set, which is honestly just kind of like another battle pack, but with some more decent builds. It came with 2 B1s and 2 Super Battle Droids, as well as a Bark Trooper, who is supposedly known as Commander Neo. This is just such a great cheap set for only $15. You get a really sleek Bark Speeder and a Stap, and then sort of a little bit of foliage, and it actually lets you shoot the battle droids over, which I always thought was kind of fun as a kid. Not really anything bad to say about this set, just a really nice one. Now as we get into what I would consider to be the more mainstream regular sets, the first of these is Anakin's Jedi Interceptor. It's a really nice rendition of the set that could honestly fit in with some of the modern sets. I don't think it looks too far off anything LEGO would make today. The set retailed for $25 and included Anakin and an R2-D2. There were another 3 sets that released in this $25 range, all focused around Revenge of the Sith as well, and the next of which is the V-Wing Starfighter. This is a really unique set and a ship that like we've never seen since from LEGO, and I like the design and the color scheme for this one. Comes with an exclusive V-Wing pilot minifig and a decent looking astromech as well. For 25 bucks, I don't think you could really go wrong with this one again, and yeah, it remains the most recent V-Wing we got, and again, when I watched Revenge of the Sith, I did see a few of these flying around. The next set is a really special one to me that I remember getting for Christmas one year, probably Christmas 2014, and I was very thankful for. This one is General Grievous's Wheel Bike, which is a set that obviously includes General Grievous and Obi-Wan Kenobi during their fight scene in Revenge of the Sith. I do wish this set had have come with the Boga, which is that big kind of green lizard thing, like the older set. But then for $25, I mean, I'm not complaining that it doesn't have it for that cheap of a price. Even if they'd made the set a little bit more, maybe $35, $40, and included a nice molded Boga, that might have been better. But I do think this set is one that could be remade again very soon. Grievous is a really popular character, but I do just hope when we get this one remade, it's not as expensive and overpriced as every other General Grievous set that comes out, which is just bizarre to me. The last of these $25 sets is the Vulture Droid. This is probably the weakest of these 4 sets, since the build is kind of small. It's just a Vulture Droid. The minifigure selection is kind of weird, I think. You get a Nemoidian Warrior, which is one of the guys sort of guarding the door on Mustafar as Anakin walks in and takes out all of the Trade Federation separatist leaders. But again, I think the figure looks great, and it's something that we've never seen before. You get a Buzz Droid, which is fun, and then a Battle Droid Pilot, who's just kind of there. Now we get into some of the bigger sets that were released in January. We have the Droid Gunship, which was again just a pretty nice rendition. Figure selection isn't great, it's pretty basic, honestly, just getting one of each sort of droid, a Scout clone, and then Chewbacca. This set did get remade in 2019 as well, so it's kind of, looking back, it doesn't really stand out as much as some of the other ones. Again, another set which seems to be like a perfect pairing with the Droid Gunship is the AT-AP, a $60 set, which again, just had a sort of great rendition of this walker. The figure selection is definitely better here than in the Droid Gunship. You get Tarful, the Wookiee, and Commander Gree, which both look really good. Again, this set was remade in 2019, but still is a good set for 2014. Next up, we have the Droid Tri-Fighter, which is a $30 set, which is a ship we haven't seen since then, and I think comes with a really great figure in Chancellor Palpatine, who is really random. I mean, he has no right being a Droid Tri-Fighter set, but a welcome surprise. You get another Battle Droid and a Buzz Droid as well, which don't hurt. You can always, army build those ones. The last 2 sets that came out here were both Clone Wars focused, and these are definitely some fan favorites. The first up is the Republic AV7 Cannon, which retailed for $40 and is such a unique Star Wars set. You get Plo Koon, as well as 2 Phase 2 Wolfpack Troopers and a Droideka. The cannon looks like a pretty nice build. I love the red tubing going across the top of it. And then, yeah, 2 Phase 2 Wolfpack Troopers are amazing. The Coruscant Guard Gunship is another set released this year and has seriously become one of my most wanted sets from the Clone Wars. You get both Anakin and Ahsoka in their updated Clone Wars outfits, and 2 Coruscant Guards with no helmet holes. This set, again, is just something that I don't think we're going to ever see again. And I really love the design of the ship. It's got a big red windshield in the front and those sliding doors on the side. Just an interesting shape and design for something unique to Star Wars, and that just highlights a really great arc from the end of Clone Wars Season 5. Now getting into the sets that released June 1st, first of all being the Phantom. This is such a legendary set for me since it came with both Ezra and Chopper, and I remember having it as a kid, and it was just such a cute and small little build with a really unique design. I love how the wings come down on this one. Spring-loaded shooter on the top is definitely pretty goofy looking, but obviously you could just take it off, and I still have a real soft spot for this set. Next up, we have the Snowspeeder, $30 set, 4 good figures with a Snowspeeder and an EMP cannon. Not a lot to say here, it's just a Snowspeeder. Then you have the B-Wing, which to my understanding is still the most recent B-Wing that we've had from LEGO. 3 great figures, 10 num in there is awesome, and I'm glad we're going to be getting a 9 num coming soon in one of the anniversary sets. The B-Wing is just a great looking ship from Star Wars. I think we definitely need a remake of this sometime soon. Next up, we have a set of LEGO's own creation, which is from the Yoda Chronicles. This is the Jedi Scout Fighter. I think this is one of the best vehicles LEGO's come up with on their own. I think it perfectly fits in with a lot of other Republic themed ships. Jek 14 and that Jedi figure also look really, really cool. I love the sort of hammerhead design of him. And again, just a really nice set. Now we have something very classic to Star Wars, and again, pretty rare for LEGO Star Wars, which is being a play set, and this is the Mos Eisley Cantina. For only $70, I remember back in the day thinking this was expensive, but looking at it now, I think it's probably a pretty good deal. You get the Land Speeder as well as the Cantina, and then a dewback with the first ever Biff musicians as well, which were a big draw at the time, even though you only got 3 instead of 4, like that was crazy. The dewback looks really good. I think it's a really great mold, and I'm surprised actually that LEGO kept the price so low, because whenever they include these big molded characters, the prices seem to skyrocket like the Jurassic World sets. The next set is one that will go down in LEGO Star Wars history, I think, as being one of the best sets of all time. This is the original Ghost. This set was so sought after before we got a remake of it just last year. However, the original set has still kept quite a lot of exclusivity, since it was the only way to get Zeb Aurelius and still remains that way. And then even more interesting is the well-known rare black-haired Kanan figure, which was only available in the first sort of production run of this set before it got updated to brown. Halfway through the set was actually on shelves, so it's made the black-haired one so much more valuable than the brown-haired. This figure alone goes for like 3 times the price of the entire set now, which is crazy to think about. We now have just 5 sets left to look at, the first of which is an AT-AT. Not a whole lot to say here, it's just another really good rendition of probably one of the most classic Star Wars walkers. The figures are nothing too special, but yeah, if you didn't have an AT-AT at the time, I think this would have been a really great one to pick up. In a similar vein, we have the Imperial Star Destroyer from 2014. This one is quite cool to look at since we have just had the latest rendition coming in August that's been leaked, which is literally 10 years since this one. This set came with a pretty basic selection of figures. Probably the most important actual piece of this set is that Emperor Palpatine hologram, which looks so cool. And I am shocked that it isn't going to be included in the new set. I wish it would. For $130 in 2014, which would now inflation adjusted be worth $170, the set is bigger than the new one in terms of length and size, but it does include 200 less pieces, which I think goes to show you just sort of how LEGO's evolved in the last 10 years, getting much more intricate but also smaller. The third last set from this year is the Advent Calendar, so nothing crazy. It did include a regular Phase 1 clone, which I mentioned before, as well as a Christmas Darth Vader, which would be cool to have. The second last set is the MTT, which is also the only Phantom Menace set from this year, other than the AAT Microfighter. I remember the set getting so much hate back in the day, and also now for being worse than the 2017 one, which I do sort of understand, but I think if it was released today, I would still really like it. I get that there aren't a ton of battle droids, but the following year did have a just battle droid carrier set, so you could definitely get some more from there. And then again, battle droids seemingly were pretty common around this time. There's a lot of sets that had battle droids in them, so you were sort of amassing them throughout buying other sets as well. Now, the last set from the year, and certainly not least, is the UCS Sandcrawler. I think this is an interesting set to call UCS because we did get that playset one a few years ago, which was quite smaller, but this one included 14 minifigures, albeit a lot of them being droids, and it essentially gives you everything you'd want from a Tatooine / A New Hope beginning Sandcrawler set. I think other than Aunt Beru, you'd probably want her to be included. The actual build is like really big. I just don't know if this was the right choice to do a UCS set for, since at the end of the day, it is a giant brown trapezoid. Anyway, with all that being said, I hope you can see why I think this year was such an amazing year for LEGO Star Wars and definitely rivals 2013 as one of the best years ever. Hopefully going to be making another video looking at 2012 in the near future. But if you did go on to enjoy this video, please feel free to like and subscribe, as it does really help this small channel grow. And please watch one of the videos on the end screen now. See ya in the next one.